Hello, I'm Lineke Lijn, and in this tutorial we are going to draw tiger eyes, and I will be doing this in real time, so no speeding up, and you can look with me from real close by to draw this hyper-realistic tiger eye. The second eye will be speeded up, so you can get a good glance of the total look of it. So I wish you all the luck and all the fun with it. For the setup of this drawing, I made some carves out of different kinds of tiger eyes, and I also made some pre-studies in color and in graphite pencils. And for this tutorial I want to focus on the third one, and what I'm using for it is a grayish cardboard. Of course you can also draw it on white paper, but when you use a slightly colored drawing paper, the white stands out even better. And what we will be using are coloring pencils, and that is for that special effect and the colors of the tiger. So let's get started. As I was saying, the left eye will be drawn in real time, so there's no speeding up, and you can see exactly how I set up everything to make this hyper-realistic effect and all the glance and the glare in the tiger eye. I start with the simple lines of the eye, and then I start deciding where the stripes are going to be, those special markings around the eyes. What I also do is I already place in some of the white areas around the eyes to get a good idea of where the dark, hello cat, of where the dark and the white markings will be. So use for your setup those two coloring pencils. It's the dark brown and the simple white. Underneath the eye there's also a white stripe that is very typical for the tiger eye. What I also want to demonstrate is that you can use a pastel pencil. This pencil is free of grease, and then the white even comes out whiter. And as you can see here, if you have used a normal coloring pencil, you cannot get over it again with the pastel pencil. But you can get between the spaces that were not colored in by the greasy pencil, and then you get a special hairy effect. So you can make use of the greasy pencil, white greasy pencil, and the pastel pencil. For the area around the pupil, I'm using the dark brown again. And what is very, very important is that you already make space for the highlights on the eyeball itself. So this is the area for around the pupil. And for the pupil itself, I'm using the black. I make sure to color in around the whites of the highlights. This is the line for the inner eyelid and the eye itself. I also use the black color pencil for this, and also for the tiny hairs, the eyelashes if you want. And I draw them in one by one. Here on the side, there's a dark line also. Here's the place for the teardrops. And here are the lines that go down, next to the nose. Also, those are very typical for the tiger eyes. Here I'm coloring in the eyelashes for the lower eyelid. Also here I draw them in one by one. Here I place in already a little bit of the dark shadowy part. And this is my fourth highlight. Then I take a middle green. With the middle green, I draw from the brownish area around the pupil and then head out. Then I take a light green. With the light green, I can make the shiny part, and I draw next to the white highlight. And also I make some stripes from the lower eyelid and then into the eye. The standard yellow I also use for the extra shine. Just a little bit. Then I take the white. With the white I color in all the rest of everything that wasn't covered in pencil already. I use it to make a kind of a shine over the eyeball itself. This is the very dark green. This is for the deepest parts inside the eyeball. Yellow ochre. This is also important. It brings out the brown a little bit, and it also adds extra shine. Then I take the dark brown again. It's for the area around the pupil. I also use the dark brown for the very deepest background inside the eyeball. I also use it over the black of the stripes and for the corner of the eyeball itself. By using this dark brown in little bits on the corners, it will give your eyeball more a sense of roundness. Dark blue is the shadow color of black, and I also use this for the shiny and moist glance on the lower eyelid and a little bit in the black hairs of the tiny hairs. For the pupil itself, I use the black again. Now it's time to look a little bit at the fur around the eyes. With the black pencil, I'm drawing in some hairs. Here are the stripes that head up the nose, the bridge of the nose. And I also use it for the white layer. And you must imagine that all those whites and dark hairs are layers. So you will have to treat them like that. And I place little tiny lines just underneath the white layer. And then I put in some little dots and I build up the fur in layers. Here I'm placing the yellow ochre against the white stripes. I use this pencil line by line. So I'm creating some kind of fur. The yellow ochre against the white stripes give the tiger that typical color, a typical tiger color if you like. Then I use the dark brown for the shadow parts on the layers of the white. And I also use it between the ochre hairs on the bridge of the nose. Here there's also a dark stripe. So I can simply draw this in now. Here is also a dark line. So I place it just against that white line. Here, just above the eye, there's also a dark square-like marking. I've decided to also draw in a little bit of the side of the head. just to give the eye some place on this drawing paper. And for the side of the head, I do not use all that much detail. I'm imagining that the side of the head bows around the corner, if you like. So I will place less and less detail on the side of the head. But I do keep in mind all the little bit of white areas that are really important. With a little bit of yellow ochre, I now bind together the stripes from the side of the head to, well, towards the eye. And then I use the white pencil to bind everything together. With the black pencil, I can draw in tiny hairs again. All the time I'm keeping in mind that I have to build up layers of hair. Here underneath the white marking underneath the eye, I use an extra dark stripe and also on the side of the eye. So I keep building up all the parts of the hair, making sure not to go too quick, but easily build up the drawing. The part underneath the eye can be a little bit darker. So now I'm placing in a little bit of middle brown. And well, it's just kind of a finishing touch, just to get the feel of the right shadows that are going on, and to make sure that the white stripes pop out in the correct way. They should not be too much in front, but they have to be there quite standing out. I go over and I check and I look very frequently at the pictures that I've cut out. And I always keep looking at them. Please remember that drawing is about 70% is watching and only 30% is actually drawing. For a final detail, I use a little bit of orange for the deepest part of the eye itself and to give it that bright shine. You can always use a little bit of orange also for the hair, the fur itself. Okay, now As I was saying when we started out this tutorial, the right eye will be drawn in a speed draw. But the great part of this is that you can, with the knowledge of when we were drawing the left eye, you can see now the process going speeded up, and it gives you a great idea on how everything works. It's all very much the same as in the left side, but now you can see the process as quick as I could make it. And you can see me here starting out with putting out the whitest areas against the darkest areas, the drawing in of the pupil and the dark lines around the eyes, the brown area for around the pupil, the color green, the color yellow for the actual color of the eye, and the filling in with the white, yellow ochre for that shiny effect, the definition of the shadows, the tiny eye hairs around the eyes of the lower eyelid, and then the typical markings. Should you be interested in drawing the whole tiger, I did do a tutorial on that. You can see how the stripe works on the head itself, and also how you draw in the nose and the mouth and the whiskers and the tiny beard, even the ears. So this is the tutorial on the eyes alone, because they are very typical and very hard to draw. And should you want to draw the whole tiger, then you can click on the tutorial in the left bottom. I've tried to match the left eye with the right eye as good as possible. Of course, they are not always exactly the same because of the light fall and all, but this is about the way I wanted the tiger to look. Should you want to make this drawing, I sure wish you all the luck with it. It's very nice to do it. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I wish you all the luck. I hope to see you again in one of my other tutorials, and for that time I want to say take care, bye bye.